Welcome, pre-algebra students, to our next lesson. Here we go. Mr. Chow time. Variables and expressions, lesson 3. If you're in the book, we're on page 13. All right. Lesson 3 is variables and expressions. Here are the vocabulary words for this lesson, or at least a few of them. Algebra. Algebra is a branch of mathematics that uses symbols. So, for example, if you had 2x plus 3, then this would be algebra because we're using the symbol x, and it's not just numbers. This symbol x is called a variable. It's a letter or a symbol that is used to represent an unknown value. We don't know what x is here in this instance. An algebraic expression. Expression is an expression that contains at least one variable and operation. So we do have our one variable here, x, and we also have a operation. In this case, it's addition. Our last vocabulary word on this slide is defining a variable. This is very important. Defining a variable is choosing a quantity that needs to be represented by a symbol and then defining it. So here, let's use x. X we'll say is the number of peanuts in a can of trail mix. So the number of peanuts in a can of trail mix times 2 plus 3, it equals something. We don't know what. All right, let's move on. For example, Mr. Chow ran 2 minutes less than the cross-country club students. So how long did the cross-country students run? We don't know, right? So we can call that C. C is equal to the minutes the cross-country students ran. So Mr. Chow ran 2 minutes less than them, so that's C minus 2. Mr. Rosari scored 5 points more than the point scored by 3-point shots. Well, how many 3-point shots were scored? We don't know. So we'll just call that S. S is the points scored. Well, we know that Mr. Rosari scored 5 more than the points scored. And how much is I'm sorry, this shouldn't be points, this should be shots. For example, in basketball. So Mr. Rosari scored 5 points more than the number of shots scored, and each shot is 3 points, so he scored 5 points more than this number of points. Moving on, our next vocabulary word, substitution, property of equality. If 2 quantities are equal, then one quantity can be replaced by another. Well, this is our next step, right? So if Mr. Rosari scored 5 points more than the number of shots. So remember in our previous example, now we're just using a different variable, and let's say P is the number of baskets made, right? The number of baskets made, and they were 3-pointers that we were talking about, right? So if there were 5 of these shots made, then P equals 5. So if these two numbers are equal to each other, then that means we can replace this with this. And that would give us 5 plus 3 times 5. And 3 times 5 is 15. And so 20 points is what Mr. Rosari scored. Next, let's evaluate some more expressions just for practice. 6 minus e plus f if e equals 3 and f equals 9. So we can just rewrite this as 6 minus 3 plus 9. E equals 3, f equals 9. 6 minus 3 is 3, plus 9 is 12. 7k plus h. K is 4, so 7 times 4 plus h, and h is 10. 7 times 4 is 28, plus 10, 38. Okay. So now let's evaluate a series of expressions where in every expression a is equal to 4, b is equal to 8, and c is equal to 12. I'm going to go a little bit fast here. If you have trouble following along, just rewind. So 3 times a is 4, plus 2 times c is 12. 3 times 4 is 12. 2 times 12 is 24. So this is 36. A times b is 4 times 8 over 16. 4 times 8. I'm going to move this over here to give myself a little bit more space. 4 times 8 is, what is that, 32. 32 divided by 16 is 2. C is 12 plus 5 times b. B is 8 minus 2 times a. A is 4. And then we close this whole thing of, maybe we'll just make these brackets just to make this a little bit more clear. And then what to do, it's inside of the brackets first, right? And the first thing we do inside the bracket is the multiplication. So 5 times 8 is 40, minus 2 times 4, which is 8. We'll add 12 to this. 40 minus 8 is 32, plus 12 is, we'll just put this over here, 44. Great. Next example. A company rents a boathouse. By the way, we're here now on page 15. A company rents a houseboat for $200 plus an extra $30 per day. Write an expression that can be used to find the total cost to rent a houseboat. So what we know is that the houseboat costs $200, and then for every day on top of that, we'll pay another $30. So 200 plus 30, where D equals the number of days that we've rented the boat. So here's our expression, 200 plus 30D. Suppose the Gregorin family wants to rent a houseboat for 6 days. What will the total cost? So D here equals 6. We just replace D with 6. 6 times 30 is 180. 200 plus 180 is 380. Oops, wrong slide. Okay. Let's do one more example. At a garage sale, each DVD was marked at $5. Each CD was marked at $3. Write an expression to find the total cost to buy some DVDs and CDs. So how many DVDs did we buy? We don't know, right? So we'll just call that D. is the number of DVDs that you buy. And same for CDs. We don't know how many CDs we bought, so we'll just call that C, which is the number of CDs you buy. Well, each DVD is $5, so 5 times D will give you the cost of the DVDs, and then we're going to add the cost of the CDs, which is 3 times C. Then we're going to find the cost for 4 DVDs and 7 CDs, so we'll just replace D with 4 and C with 7. 5 times 4 is 20, plus 3 times 7 is 21. $41. That is our cost. Okay. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Have a good night or day if you're in class right now. See you later.